But there are certain wrestlers who attain a reputation for being dangerous in the ring. Unfortunately, this reputation comes from them being reckless with their opponent and injuring more than one wrestler during their career. However, there are those wrestlers who have never harmed their opponent. They've attained a reputation for being incredibly safe in the ring, so much so that WWE could trust them to work with anyone, as they know everyone in the match will be safe. Well, which wrestlers were they? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers who never injured anyone. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Number 10. Baron Corbin. Whilst Baron Corbin didn't go through the independent scene, he has built a career based on integrity and respect. Whilst fans aren't the biggest fan of Corbin and his in-ring work, the same can't be said for his peers. Corbin is rather popular in the locker room, and he receives credit for being reliable and safe in the ring. Wrestling legend Lance Storm was the first superstar to praise Corbin on how excellent he is in the ring and how apparent it is that he looks after his opponent. Randy Orton also spoke about Corbin, and he claimed that Corbin quote-unquote gets it. This is insanely high praise and goes to show just why Corbin remains consistently booked on WWE television. Number 9. Ric Flair. Ric Flair is widely regarded as one of the most decorated and gifted performers to ever lace up a pair of wrestling boots. Flair's wrestled all over the world and worked with every single star imaginable. But one of the things that is not often discussed about Flair is just how safe he is in the ring. Flair never hurt anyone, yet his offense always looked crisp. Even former WWE champion Rob Van Dam will go on record to state that Flair was the safest superstar he's ever wrestled. This is high praise, as RVD, similarly to Flair, has worked with everyone. Number 8. Christian. Considered by many to be vastly underrated, Christian has had a fantastic career. Christian has won numerous titles, including the WWE World title on 2 occasions. But accomplishments aside, Christian is beloved by fellow wrestlers, and wrestlers up and down the card have always been eager to work with him. He's reliable and safe, and any wrestling company he's worked for has always been able to depend on him. Even Randy Orton, who is often critical and honest on his views on certain wrestlers, has stated that Christian is one of his favourite opponents. Number 7. Cesaro. That's not uncommon for wrestlers who are unbelievably strong to be heavy-handed and reckless in the ring. However, this has never been the case with former WWE star Cesaro. Cesaro is amazing in the ring, and despite his strength and brute force, he's widely regarded as being one of the safest wrestlers around. Even WWE knew this in 2015 when they trusted Cesaro to work with the tough enough contestants. This has been a role in the past that was given to established veterans, but it hasn't always gone to plan. When WWE revisited the idea in 2015, they knew they needed to pick someone who was going to take care of the untrained contestants, and the former US champion was naturally the perfect and most logical option. Number 6. The Miz. For well over a decade, The Miz has been the guy that the WWE can always rely on. Whilst The Miz's in-ring work isn't exactly groundbreaking, it's consistent and safe. Throughout his career, The Miz has never hurt anyone, and whilst Bryan Danielson may class The Miz's in-ring work as soft, it's better to be soft than dangerous. WWE knew just how good The Miz was in the ring when they decided to pair him with Logan Paul at SummerSlam in 2022. This would act as Logan's first ever singles match in WWE, and it received acclaim from fans. The Miz was excellent in the match, and he was always in the correct place to safely catch Logan during his high-risk moves. And there's a reason that The Miz continues to be featured in prominent roles in WWE, and this is unlikely to ever change. Number 5. Bayley. From Asuka to Mickie James to Sasha Banks to Becky Lynch, some of the most talented female stars in wrestling history have all stated just how gifted Bayley is in the ring. It's hard to make an argument against the fact that Bayley could be anything other than the most reliable and safest female talent in all of WWE. Bayley has worked with so many legends, as well as so many talents that were just getting started with WWE when all of them had nothing but praise for her. Bayley has never hurt another female wrestler, and this is something that the former women's champion clearly prides herself on, and rightly so. In recent years, Bayley has taken on the role of the women's locker room leader. She is someone the female talent can trust and depend on. Bayley, when she eventually retires, is going to have a monumental legacy, and it would be wise for the WWE to keep Bayley around as a trainer, as her knowledge and expertise would help elevate the next generation of WWE superstars. Number 4. Roman Reigns. And when a WWE star is given the responsibility of being the top star, there's a ton of pressure on that specific talent. The talent must be reliable and dependable in the ring, but also have hard-hitting matches that fit in with the modern WWE style. Roman Reigns has managed to do this and do it extremely well. Reigns has had major matches against all types of talent, and he's been able to have great matches while still keeping his opponents safe in the ring. This was evident during Reigns' infamous showdown with The Undertaker back at WrestleMania 33. It was apparent that The Undertaker was in no fit state to be in the ring, yet Reigns managed to make sure the dead man was safe at all times, even when The Undertaker was botching rather dangerous spots. There are a number of matches that can highlight the lengths that Reigns goes to make sure his opponent is safe at all times. Perhaps the most subtle one of those took place back in 2016. Reigns was wrestling Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank, and Rollins had just come back from a serious knee injury. During the match, Rollins would go for a sunset flip powerbomb, and whilst Rollins was setting up the move, Reigns smartly guided Rollins through the move and would let go of his leg until he was completely safe. It was expertly done by Reigns and just goes to show how WWE made the right call in making him their guy. Number 3. Kane. Even though Kane portrayed a demonic character on television, behind the scenes and in his matches, Kane was one of the most liked wrestlers amongst his fellow superstars. Kane was dependable in the ring, and WWE always knew that he could put on a satisfactory match whilst never injuring anyone. During his decorated career, the Devil's favourite demon never injured a single wrestler, which is some achievement seeing as Kane was active for over 2 decades. Number 2. Randy Orton. During Randy Orton's early days in WWE, he was struggling with personal demons, and these had a severe impact on Orton's life and career. Orton was almost released from WWE, but thankfully he got his life back on track. When Orton was going through these difficult times, he was always a consummate pro in the ring in terms of keeping talent safe, and this continued in Orton's later years. For the past few years, Orton has become the guy that all the young talent look up to. Orton has gone from a superstar that seemed to distance himself from others to someone who coaches and gives advice to talent. 20 years after his initial WWE debut, and the Legend Killer has never injured anyone in the ring, and when Orton finally decides to retire, this is going to be some legacy to have alongside his extensive WWE accomplishments. And number 1. Bret Hart. Bret Hart is always honest regarding the fact that he takes exception to unsafe wrestlers. Following his retirement, Hart has publicly called out talent such as Goldberg for ending his career via a dangerous thrust kick back in WCW. Hart has even let loose at current WWE star Seth Rollins for being unsafe in the ring and injuring talent such as John Cena and Finn Balor, whilst also reminding the fans that he himself has never injured anyone. Hart would discuss just how proud he is of the fact that he's never injured a fellow wrestler during his legendary career during an interview with QTV. The former WWE champion would state, "I take a lot of pride in knowing I was so safe. I mean, I really was so safe. We don't get credit. Wrestlers don't get enough credit for the athletes that we are. We're picking a 200-pound or 300-pound man up in the middle of the ring and walking out, climb on the apron and climb up on the turnbuckle, and as you're climbing up, that opponent that you're wrestling, if you get hurt, your career is over and your income comes to an end, and you're just a liability after you get hurt. Everything in wrestling is about trusting the guy you're working with. Like, don't hurt me, you have to protect me." But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE wrestlers who have never injured anyone. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.